liberty, and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll proceed into the agenda. Item number 1 is the approval of the minutes of the October 20th board meeting. Are there any additions or questions to the minutes?
No, move approval.
Second.
Great, it has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the October 20th board meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The next item is public comment. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that have not been agendized. If you'd like to make a public comment at this time, please come forward. Okay, seeing none. Item number 3 is the executive officer statement. Julie, would you like to
Yes,
give
good
a
morning,
report?
members. Very short report this morning, just a couple of items of interest. I'd like to just update you really briefly on our CARES 2.0 modification project. We really appreciate the board's support of our efforts, and I'm pleased to report that we are now in system testing, which is a huge milestone. It's very significant that we were able to get to this phase where we're actually testing the system in total and in essence trying to break it, trying to find out what might be wrong with the work that we have done, so that we can remediate that work before we then take the newly revised system into our user testing, which is kind of the last stages before our actual cutover. So we're still on schedule. I will be bringing you a contract adjustment next month, kind of our final need for contractor continued assistance due to some reductions in state staffing in some key areas that we are not able to recruit quickly enough to meet the needs of the project. But if all goes well and we stay on schedule as we have been, we're looking at a cutover in sometime in March of next year. And in the world of IT projects, and as fast as time goes in this place and others, it feels like March is literally just around the corner. So this is a very critical time for the project. And again, I appreciate your support.
The testing time is always the most critical time.
It is.
And hopefully with the new processes we're putting in place in state government, we'll be testing much sooner than at the end of a project.
Yes,
Yeah.
and completely.
And iterate and iterate and iterate.
Yes.
Great. Any questions about the, oh, you're not done, I'm sorry.
I just have one other thing. Actually, this is exciting news. I think most of you are aware that our lease is coming to an end in this building. So we have been on the search for a new home for the victim compensation program. And after much work and effort and discernment, we have settled on the location of the Granite Bay Regional Park, which is off Highway 50 and Power Inn Road, just a few miles from downtown, conveniently located right off the freeway for those of you who fly in for meetings.
Thank you.
So that will work well for you. I unveiled this to staff a week or so ago, and they had a very, very positive response
It's
to
right
the
off of
decision.
light rail too, so
It's a great transportation modes, free parking, which is huge for our staff.
Very much so.
A lot of ability to access the site through surface streets, so those employees that live in Elk Grove or in south side of Sacramento, and even those who live up the hill, as we say, still have easy access on Highway 50. So it's not that far from downtown, and again, we have multiple modes of transportation other than cars to get us to meetings at agency in the governor's office and the legislature and elsewhere. So that's exciting. It is going to be a brand newly constructed building, and we will be one of probably 2 tenants. We will have a boardroom within our building, and we plan to finalize everything and be able to move in sometime in the fall of 2018.
And the negotiations on the rent?
Yes, went very, very well. We struck a very good deal. Not our work alone. Obviously, we are supported by Department of General Services, so a very good partnership with them led to a very good result.
Good. This is thrilling. It's another one of those positives within GovOps that I have to say, yippee.
And that concludes my report.
Great. Any questions?
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Julie. That is Very helpful. Okay, moving on to item number 4 on the agenda is the contract report.
Yes,
Julie?
I have one contract for you. It's kind of just in that range of reporting. It's for NWN Corporation in the amount of $149,102.02. This is for equipment licensing and enterprise-level support services from Hewlett-Packard relative to our infrastructure. And this all goes hand in hand of having the, a solid performing infrastructure to support CARES 2 as well as all of our other systems and applications. So I ask for your approval of that contract.
We'll have to take a vote on this. Does anybody have any questions? Was this a competitively awarded?
This goes through the state procurement where NWN acts as the broker with Hewlett-Packard.
Okay, got it.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the contract with NWN Corporation for $149,102.02. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, we will now move on to item number 5, which is the Penal Code Section 4900. We have a claim of Mr. Cash Register that will be presented by our Chief Counsel, Lorinda Delaney. And Lorinda, would you please brief the board on this case?
Good morning, thank you. Cash Register seeks compensation for his erroneous conviction and incarceration pursuant to Penal Code Section 4900. In 1979, a jury convicted Mr. Register of first-degree murder and found true various enhancements and a special circumstance allegation that the murder was committed during the course of a robbery. Mr. Register was subsequently sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, which was later reduced to 25 years to life. In 2013, the Los Angeles County Superior Court granted Mr. Register's petition for habeas relief, finding that he was denied his rights to due process and a fair trial because the prosecution withheld exculpatory evidence that was material to Mr. Register's guilt. The district attorney's office declined to retry Mr. Register and dismissed the charges. In October of 2016, following the settlement of a lawsuit in which the city of Los Angeles agreed to pay Mr. Register $16.7 million for violating his civil rights, the Los Angeles County Superior Court determined that Mr. Register was factually innocent of first-degree murder and the attending enhancements. The prosecution did not oppose Mr. Register's petition for a finding of factual innocence. Accordingly, pursuant to Penal Code Section 851.865, the board is mandated to recommend to the legislature that an appropriation be made in the amount of $1,739,780 for the 12,427 days that Mr. Register spent in prison. Mr. Register is present today and represented by Kevin LaHue, an attorney with K. McLean, Bednarski, and Litt. The Attorney General's office is represented by Deputy Attorney General Barton Bowers.
Okay, thank you, Lorinda. Gentlemen, is there anything you wish to address the board with today? If so, I'd ask you to come to the witness table. If not, that's fine as well.
I don't know if this is out of order. I have no questions, but I would move staff's recommendation.
A second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to accept staff recommendation on Mr. Register's item before the board. Are there any comments, any further comments? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Register. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, sir. All right. We will move on now to item number 6, which is the Penal Code Section 4900 claim of Luis Vargas. Lorinda, would you please brief us on this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Luis Vargas seeks compensation for his erroneous conviction and incarceration pursuant to Penal Code Section 4900. In 1999, a jury convicted Mr. Vargas of various sexual offenses committed against 3 victims, including forcible rape, attempted forcible sodomy, and assault with intent to commit rape. Mr. Vargas was subsequently sentenced to serve 55 years to life in prison. In 2015, after DNA testing on biological evidence collected from one victim proved that Mr. Vargas was not the perpetrator, the Los Angeles County Superior Court granted his petition, his habeas petition, based on newly discovered evidence, and the charges against Mr. Vargas were dismissed. The Los Angeles County Superior Court subsequently determined that Mr. Vargas was factually innocent of the sexual offenses for which he was convicted. The prosecution did not oppose that petition. Accordingly, pursuant to Penal Code Section 851.865, the board is mandated to recommend to the legislature that an appropriation be made in the amount of $886,760 for the 6,334 days that Mr. Vargas spent in prison. Mr. Vargas is not here today, but he's represented by Justin Brooks, the director of the California Innocence Project, and the Attorney General's office is represented by Deputy Attorney General Barton Bowers.
Thank you very much, Lorinda. Are there any questions of Lorinda at this time?
No, I have none.
Okay, gentlemen, if you would like to make a statement, we would be pleased to accept that. If you'd like to come forward, should you have a statement.
Okay.
And once seated, if you could please state your name and title, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I have no statement if there's
Okay.
a motion on the table.
Other-
I'll move staff's recommendation.
A second.
Okay, thank you, sir. The motion has been made and seconded to accept staff recommendation on item number 6, Mr. Vargas's claim for the board. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. The board will move on now to convene into closed session pursuant to Government Code 11126C3 to discuss victim compensation items 1 through 61 of the compensation program.
Because I was just in there.